right, guys, thank you for tuning in here to Circuit to the America Super Lap Battle USA, our inaugural event. We're here in Austin, Texas, and our first run group is going hot. If you've been following Time Attack America for a while, you might have known we are going to run this event here today. This is going to be a once-a-year big bang of Time Attack in North America. We're at Circuit to the America 3.4-mile 20-turn circuit. It's probably the most famous circuit here in the U.S. It's the biggest F1 all-grade track. We'll be bringing you live, non-stop action here. We will have this here for 2 days, guys. 2 days. For all you guys tuning in, you can race live timing and scoring. If you have an Android or iPhone, you can do the Race Hero app. Download that. We have every session and at the end of the store. We have quite a mix of cars here. We have some North America Time Attack cars. We also have some Pirelli World Challenge TC America cars running with us also. For those of you that don't know what Time Attack is basically perpetual qualifying. We're out here trying to find the fastest lap. The best thing about Time Attack is there is no perfect lap. Every time you go out, you can always improve one little bit. And these teams and drivers spend hours upon hours trying to pick up tenths of seconds. At this opening event, we don't really have a time index. There's never been a Time Attack event held here at Circuits of the America. So we're trying to see what these guys can lay down and what times can be put. Right now what you're watching is Bruce Wexler. It is TC America BMW. Coming up the front straight. Turn 1, it's a very wide open. So let's give you a little rundown of the track. We have the front straight going a huge gradient. It's going up, I believe, 400 feet. The camera's not going to give you the best view of the elevation changes here, but it is crazy. This track has been inspired by a lot of international tracks, so let me try to give you a little rundown here. Turn 1 is inspired by a steep hill and turn-in Austria. Rival F1 world champion Nelson Piquet inspired that turn. Turn 2 is a downhill nod to the Senna S in Brazil. Turns 4 through 6, the S's are a roller coaster ride like Maggots and Beckett's Chapel section of the English track Silverstone. You'll get through 5, 6, then turn 10 is a blind turn, and depending on the vehicle, it's about 90 miles an hour. You'll go down turn 10, then you'll do turn 11, straight. Turn 11 will set you up for basically the top speed of this track. Turns 12 through 14 are similar to Hockenheim in Germany. 12 through 14 is going to take you all the way to turn 16 through 18. This is probably one of the most famous corners on this track. It's a triple apex 180 degree turn. They base that turn off of the track in Istanbul. From 18, you got 19. 19 takes you down a short straight down to turn 20. That'll put you back onto the front straight. The track itself is 3.4 miles. There's elevation change of about 140 feet. This track is world renowned for not only Formula One, IMSA, Pirelli World Challenge, but also MotoGP. It's an honor to be running a Time Attack event here, and we hope to have it here every single year around this time. It is the morning of day 1. This is the first Time Attack session. This is Group 4, Session 1. So we'll be having more cars out here right now, but we're basically just getting squared away. to try and give you live coverage of basically an entire lap. So once we get some fast laps going, we're going to try and give you full coverage of that whole lap. Once again, if you're looking for timing, just go ahead and go to racehero.io. We're going to get a couple sessions in. That way we have a good time index of what everyone's going to be running. To give you guys a good basis, if you watch IMSA, the GT Daytona cars run around 208 to 210s here. The GT Le Mans cars run between 204 to 206. And the Daytona prototypes run 2 flats. So if you're looking to see what fast times are here, it'd be very difficult to tell you until we get some more sessions. But figure anything below 215 and you're flying. As you can tell, this track is a little tricky. We just had a TC America car spin out right there on turn 20. Part of the difficulties and the reasons people love watching this track is going from a steep uphill in turn 1 to a downhill down turn 2. Then you carry a lot of speed going into 4, 5, and 6. These S's are very, very famous for being like a roller coaster ride. If you hit it right, you'll be flying. If you hit it wrong, you'll be off on every corner after that, and there's a good chance on that final corner you'll be spinning. All right, guys, here we are in the pits. We have a beautiful R34 Skyline. Not a car you see very often here in America, but we've been lucky enough to have this car compete with not only us, but other time attack organizations here in North America. During this event, we'll try and give you some insight on what these time attack drivers are like, what these cars are like, and why these guys do what they do. There are some world famous teams here right now. Teams such as Life Motorsports with their beautiful R35 Sydney. Some of you might have seen that at World Time Attack a few years back. The car has been in hiding for a bit, but when they heard about SLB here at COTA, they decided to bring her back out. The buzz in the paddock is everyone is excited about this event. We're trying to take time attack to a higher level here in North America, and this is definitely the place to do it. We have competitors from all around the states and some from Canada, I believe. We have James Hooten in the K-tuned Levine Motorsports Integra Type R. We have some California. We have some competitors from California, competitors from the East Coast, some from Arizona. People made the trek from far and wide to be here today, and we thank them all. Here we have Ryan Pasi in his LFX Camaro-powered Mazda Miata. He's been making waves in the global time attack circuit. He runs a limited class Mazda Miata that is a Camaro V6 in there. The car itself, and as you can tell if you guys don't watch a lot of time attack, the aero looks very, very extreme, but this is what time attack is. You try to extract as much out of the car as possible to get that fastest lap. It's pretty wild to look at. You see these TC America cars with their crazy body arches. These cars are beautiful. They're made for a specific purpose, but then you go to, let's say, Ryan Pasi's Miata and you go, wow, that Miata has double the aero of these cars, and that's what they're built for. I'm very interested to see how these unlimited class cars, these cars built to the peak of what they can be, the most aero possible, the most power they can put down, the biggest, stickiest tires. I'm wondering how these cars will do through sections like the S's or the Triple Apex 180-degree turn. These TCA cars, they're made to run long periods of time. They can run back to back. They can run close to each other. The aero washes them. You'll notice with the time attack competitors, they will be giving themselves much bigger gaps. You run too close with a car in front of you in a time attack car, you'll have absolutely no downforce on your front wing, and that's definitely not what they're looking for. We've got 4 cars out on track here right now. Just for a good point of reference, the fastest TCA car right now is running a 237. Then you got a 238 on the car behind them, and the rest have basically done a warm-up and had to come back in. Session 1 right now is coming to an end. This is Group 4, Session 1. We're about to go to Group 3, Session 1, see what kind of times we get out of these time attack cars coming out. What you're going to see out of time attack cars is you're going to see these guys set up, do 1, maybe 2 hot laps and bring it back in. Their crews are going to check things like tire pressures, temperatures. They may have to add more fuel because these cars are specifically built to run that 1 fast lap, and then they may go back out. These guys are going out trying to set their fastest time, collecting data, and getting ready for the next session. These are not cars meant to run out their lap after lap after lap. They are very high-strung, high horsepower, high aero loads, crazy alignment settings. Their tires will just get slippery, engines will overheat, they'll run out of fuel. They want to make sure that they get out there, do the best they can, and get back in to see if they can again. There we have Nick Steniford in the Tarmac Apparel S2000. He spent the entire offseason renovating that car. Anyone who's seen it last year knows it was gray. It was a beautiful car, but he went out of his way. Full cage, brand new paint job, new wheels. That car right there is probably one of the most beautiful, clean S2000s we have out here right now. Here you go, guys. You see this lineup right here? These cars are coming out. We have what looks like Jackie Ding, followed by Fiona Liu. A lot of street class cars here, guys. We do our time attack based on a time index. The groups are time index, and the classes are based on a rule set. We go from enthusiast to street to limited to unlimited. Enthusiast class is going to be basically a street car that you have set up as well as you can to do a time attack event. It's to get your feet wet if you want to get in and know if this is something you want to get into. Street class is a lot more extreme than you would think. The classing is based on a tread wear. So street class cars are on a 200 tread wear tire, where enthusiast is on a 220 plus. The thing about it is these guys will put 400, 500, 600 horsepower down on their 200 tread wear tires. The reason there's no horsepower limitations is because it's up to you as a team to find a way to get that power to the ground. So if you put 1,000 horsepower in a street class car, but you can't get it to the tires, what's the point? Front wheel drive and rear wheel drive have a tire limitation width of 285 millimeters, where all wheel drive can run 255s. So you see this Honda S2000, though I'm not sure if he's on 285s, he'd have the ability to run a 285 square, where the Subaru that's 4 cars back could only run a 255. This is just to even out the field, obviously. All-wheel drive, they have an advantage. If they could run 285 square, it would not be fair. Now, on top of that, with these street class cars, they do have to be street registered. They have to have insurance. They have to be driven by a non-professional, so either the owner of the vehicle or one of his friends. In enthusiast class, the owner of the vehicle has to drive the car, and then as you go higher, you get into limited. Limited allows you a lot more aero. It allows you a R compound tire, and it allows you just to be able to do more with less. The street class cars require a lot of the interior to still be in the car. You need the full dash. You need everything in front of the B-pillar. Truth be told, though, you can remove things for safety. So if you have a full cage in your car, you can cut the door card as needed to make sure the safety fits. But to the fullest extent of the rules, you want to make sure that that car is as close to a street trim car as possible. The beautiful thing about this event is there are a lot of drivers I see that I've seen competing in time attack for years. I mean, if you've been following time attack, there's no doubt you know Jackie Ding. He's the one leading this group out. He's been making waves. He's been setting incredible lap times with his naturally aspirated S2000. But if I'm not mistaken, he showed up today with boost. So let's see what kind of times he can lay down. Oh, right. And here we have We Don't Lift and Ravi in his Honda Acura NSX. This car has been in and out of the circuit forever. This started as a NASA wheel-to-wheel car, and he's been competing more and more in time attack events. He chose to come here instead of a NASA event because he knew this was the place to be. He's been doing a lot of work on that car, been refining the aero, lower drag, more downforce. It's always a fight with these guys. You want aero on these cars. You want to make sure that you can stick them to the ground. But what's the point of running a bunch of aero if it slows you down to the point where you're not keeping up with everybody else? This is what we're going to have coming out, guys. This is going to be Group 3, Session 1. We're just waiting for them to be released on track. Everything should be hot, and then we should be good to go. guys. Group 3 has gone out. Group 3 has gone out. We're going to go ahead and get these guys on their warm-up lap. When the cars are released out of the pit, they're released with a gap. The reason we do this is these cars are gridded on speed index. So at no point should the car behind it catch up to the car in front. That way they have enough time to get 1, maybe 2 clean hot laps before they have to come in, get checked out. That way no one interferes. Now what you'll see there is this track is cold, guys. It is in the 50s right now. That AE86 right there is an F20C powered. It's a Honda S2000 powered Hachiroku. So he's just out there trying to get some heat into his tires. He got a little sideways into turn 1, but it looks like he kept it clean. That way he's not going to be impeding anyone else's lap. It's always a battle here because these guys want to go out, they want to get as much grip in their tires as they can, but they don't want to cook them. So it's always a fight of how hard do I push on the first lap? Do I push to the point where my tires are sticky, or do I push to the point where I can get nice and set up for that lap? Because if you push it too hard, you could be in the middle of your hot lap and the tires could just fall off and then everything goes away. All right, guys, it looks like all the cars are out of the pits and on the track. We're going to wait till Jackie Ding comes around to start his hot lap and see what kind of times we're laying down. This is going to be Group 3, Session 1. So as the groups progress, they're just going to get faster and faster. Group 2 is going to be a little bit faster than this, and Group 1 is going to be the biggest dogs we have here. That is a car that we haven't seen in a year or two. That's Kevin Parlett in the BC Racing Apex Garage G35. Kevin's been spending a lot of time working with not only himself but also Savannah's program. That looks like he's brought his car back out. Hopefully he can get some good time on that. And here we go. We got Jackie starting his hot lap going down the front straight. No camera is going to show you how much elevation there is going up to turn 1. About 130, 140 foot elevation, you come up to 1. It's a really wide corner that is deceiving, makes you feel like you can carry a lot more speed into it. But you'll see a lot of people push out right there, either spin out or just take it off track. Here we go. We got Jackie coming down to the S's. This is a nice flowing section. If you hit this right, this is going to be key to your lap time. Now, Jackie is a street class car, so he's not going to have the most aero possible. He won't be able to push that as hard as, say, a limited or unlimited car that's going to have a whole bunch of aero downforce keeping him down right there. Here they are, guys. Here they are on the back straight. This is the longest straight here at Circuits of the America. The front straight does look long, but you don't carry very much speed going onto the front straight. We're on the back straight. You actually enter there between 60 and 90 miles an hour, all dependent on what kind of vehicle you have. It does look like Fiona's caught up to Jackie. I'm not sure if he made a mistake or if he just wasn't liking his hot lap and backed off. are set to the extreme. Alignments are extreme. Tire pressures are set to a specific way to come up quickly. So when the track is really cold, it's hard for them to get proper temps in, and then you run into sometimes like this. So we have Jackie on his first lap running a 250. It doesn't seem like he was on a complete flyer. There we have Nick Bright in his Euro R. That is a true Euro R. That is not a TSX. Fiona with a 253, and then Jason Owens a 254. So these are the enthusiast street class guys. We got them in the 250s right now. This is a car that's creating a lot of buzz out here, guys. This is not only a beautiful vehicle, but it's powered by a Honda S2000 F20. Looks like this whole group, this session right now, is going to sit in the 250s right now. We have between 250 to 254. Thomas Lee at 253, and then Ryan Dusex at a 251. Ryan's driving a Subaru WRX Impreza right there, a Bug-Eye. Looks like Corey was not able to complete his first lap. He did a 317, but it's because he clocked timing in the hot pits. Here's Corey's team talking to him. We got Marcos out there. Looks like Ill Will is driving the car right now. This is the craziest thing. Where else are you going to see all these different styles of cars competing on the same track, trying to set the fastest time? The biggest argument you guys ever hear from car people is this car's faster than that car. American over import, Chevy over Ford, Subaru over Honda. Well, the thing is, these teams will tell you can build anything to go fast. It's all about how much time, effort, and development you put into the car. We'll have multiple different styles of cars out here within tenths of each other or seconds, and that's the best part about time attacking racing. You got a Honda Civic out here with a Porsche Boxster with a Subaru Bug-Eye. Looks like Jackie took about 8 seconds off his lap. He did a 250 last lap, now a 242. Fiona also took about 6 seconds off her lap. She did a 252 down to a 246. These guys are already dropping time. That beautiful blue Camaro out there is running 232 right now. He is the fastest in the session. He is a limited class, but he is about 10 seconds ahead of everybody else out here right now. Ravi in his pink NSX is running 250. That's that beautiful blue Camaro right there that's running fastest in the session. Did a 230 flat. That's Bailey Eyepock in his Subaru wagon, running a 249 right now. Same thing. How many times are people going to tell you a wagon's not a good performance vehicle? Well, look at these guys. The wagon does look very planted. As you can see from here, this is just 100% about flow. You want to hit these S's, you want to hit them on the inside, and on this final corner, you take a little wide, bring it back in. Looks like we have Mike McGinnis and his GTR getting checked out. I'm not sure what they're working on right now. I haven't seen him out on track yet. I'm not sure if he's going to be in this group. I believe he's in session. He's in group 2, so we'll probably see him in the next session.
Mike has a stock internal GTR with all bolt-ons. The thing does make power, though. These cars are gorgeous. I will say, though, the all-wheel drive field seems to be full of Subarus and a few GTRs. I haven't seen an Evo here. It's blowing my mind. Where the Mitsubishi guys at? You got to come show what you got. That is an enthusiast class car. You see that right there? That's the kind of car you could bring out to a Time Attack event. If you don't have the experience, if you don't feel you're ready for that, don't hesitate to go run some SCCA time trials. This is a SCCA sanctioned pro event. So if you want to know how you get into this, guys, just go ahead and go to your local SCCA chapter. Tell them you want to run time trials. Tell them you want to move your way up. All the drivers here have an SCCA Pro time trial license. So if you feel you aren't to this level yet, you can always start at the bottom and move your way up. You always got to remember, guys, these cars you see out here, they didn't start this way. These drivers didn't start like this. Everyone moved their way up from somewhere. Everything is attainable and achievable. It's just how much time and effort you're willing to put in it. So Jackie keeps shaving time. He did a 250 first lap. Now he's down to a 237. But as he was shaving it, Jason Dent and Scott Dolhai in that blue Camaro right there just did a 225.599. That would be the fastest time of this session and the fastest time we've seen here today. Quite a few Honda S2000s out here right now. Honda S2000, probably one of the most popular cars out here. The platform is good. The S2000 is starting to be surpassed by the FRS and BRZ at the local circuits, but at the higher levels, the S2000 is still definitely one of the most popular cars out here. Every angle of these S's makes it look and feel different. When you see it from the top, you see the cars flowing. When you see it from here, you see how much they actually have to turn. Most S's people are used to, you can straight line as well as possible. This one, it's all about setup. If you mess up the setup for 1, 2, and 3 are not going to be good. If you mess up the setup for 2, exit on 3 is going to be terrible. So that's definitely going to be one of the most crucial parts about your lap. So if you want to see what kind of times these enthusiast cars are running, Zachary in that 281, that enthusiast Subaru is running a 245. He's actually about 2 seconds up on a street car right now. He is from the Houston, Texas area, though. He has been here before, so he is very comfortable with this track. I do expect to see some cars catching up to him. The blue Camaro, Scott and Jason Dent, he just ran a 225.757. He's within 0.2 of his fastest lap. He's running very consistent right now. Not only that, but look how gorgeous that Raptor is. Let's see if they can do something a little bit faster. Once again, this is Jason Denton, his limited class blue Camaro 6th Gen SS, number 7. Looks like he's going inside on Fiona. That might have stopped him down a little bit. Let's see what kind of times he can lay down. One thing the camera is not going to show you is how blind that back straight is. You dip down and then come back up. By the time you get up and over, it's very, very hard to know where you're at. The braking zones on this track, they're very, very deep. It's all about how far you want to push your car. A lot of these corners are wide, but you don't want to hit you don't want to miss your marks. That right there, that fellow competitor getting out of the way, that is time attack. If you're not on a flyer, if you see someone coming up fast, you get out of the way. Remember, guys, this fastest lap for him is a 2:25. He is the fastest one out on track right now. We got the cars ready to come out for the next session. That's the Project Import J-Tune Automotive Honda S2000 right there. This car and this team has been working their butts off for the last 2 months. The S2000 blew its motor 2 weeks ago in testing, and the Accord, well, that was a full rebuild, so that took some serious time. Jason Dent ran a 2:27. He was 2 seconds off his fastest time, but he's been out there running consistently in the 2:25 to 2:27 range. Looks like the fastest competitor on track behind that gentleman is Jesse Zielinski at a 2:33.991. Jesse is in a Subaru. Here we got Nick Steniford in the Tarmac Apparel, a Honda S2000. He's run a 2:32, which is very, very impressive considering this is a naturally aspirated Honda S2000. This track needs some legs. Now, it is 3.4 miles, but there is a lot of straight. But that's proof of good driving takes you to good lap times. You keep it smooth, you get good exit speed, you make it through the S's clean, you can run some very respectable laps. Boom, here we are, guys. This is going to be Group 2 lining up for their session. There's quite a bit of cars out here, so it looks like we have Phil Grabo in his LS-powered, I believe that's a twin-turbo LS-powered FRS BRZ. We have Sally McNulty in her STI VA chassis. Then we have Carla Pistonik in the Project Import Honda S2000. Then we have what looks like Racing Ray Williams in the Bobby Lane Racing Project Import Honda Accord. If you guys don't know, Ray Williams flew in from New Zealand to drive this event. Ray, very, very popular guy out there, so let's see what we can do here in America. He wants to make a stand and show what these Kiwis can do. Looks like we do have a yellow on track, yellow on track. And this session is checkered. These guys, any lap that's flying right now will count. And then after that, we'll go ahead and get these guys off track and get the Group 2 for their first session. This is something you don't see in a lot of international competition. Corvettes and Camaros built specifically for time attack. That right there, you see that MX-5 Mazda Miata? That's Jensen Little's car. Jensen Little has a serious, serious budget with that car. He works for CJ Wilson Racing. They do race Miatas in a few other series, but I will tell you right now, anyone who's seen that car, there's a really long build sheet on it. It's probably one of the top tier builds I've seen that looks like not much is going on with it. He is a local guy. He's run this track hundreds of times, so we're hoping he can lay down some serious lap times. This is what we're looking at right here, guys. This is Group 2, Session 1, lining up. Group 2, Session 1. All right, guys, this is going to be Group 2 coming out. Group 2, this consists of mainly limited and the higher street cars. We got a lot of names here that we do know. We have Johnny Hernandez and his WRX STI. That he is very well known here. He won GTA Finals in street class last November. Followed by another STI by Curtis Gladden. Then we have the little Mazda Miata that could, guys. If any of you guys follow Hoonigan, you'll know Ulrich Zerka. He just turned 18. He's been tracking for a long time. He's son of UMS Tuning's famous Tony Zerka. That little Miata's gone from just your everyday HPDE time trial car all the way to a crazy limited class Miata. We're going to have Brian Tyson out there in his Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. He was supposed to come in his Focus ST, but he was having a few issues with that. Kyle Paddleford in that beautiful Nissan GTR R34. And then what we got back here, so we had Carla Pastonik in the Honda S2000. She made some waves at Super Lap, bringing a car out that had just been finished being built, laying down some really impressive lap times. We're going to have Jason Owens in his Type R, Ryan Dusex in his WRX. Mike Kang came out in a BMW M3. I haven't seen him drive that car before. That is awesome. A few other people that we've all seen. We have Alex Lee in his WRX. We have Sally and Marco sharing their WRX. Ray Williams in the Honda Accord. Mike McGinnis in the Nissan GTR. That's going to be that beautiful R35 you saw that was on a jack. And Jesse Selinsky in another Honda S2000. All right, guys, these cars have been released. These cars have been released. So this is Group 2, Session 1. In theory, these times should be faster than Group 3s, but since there is no stated index, we don't have history here. We can only go by the drivers that have been here and the speeds of the other vehicles that we know. Just so you know, after the second session today, we will reorganize these guys. We will get them to a true speed index, so that way we know who's going to be the fastest, where everyone needs to go. The craziest thing about this is, though, you figure that a limited car would be loads faster than a street car. Unlimited car would be loads faster than a limited car. But these guys have been pushing these cars to the limits. You're going to see some speed indexes out of street cars that would rival limited cars. You're going to see some limited cars that would rival unlimited cars. So there's never going to be a point in time where you go, wow, that guy's going slow, that guy's flying. Here we got. So the warm-up lap is exactly that. You're going to see these guys push 60, 70% maybe until about the last last quarter of the lap, where they're going to really open it up. They don't want to overheat these cars. They don't want to overcook the brakes or the tires, but they also don't want to start a hot lap on some really cold, slippery tires. So we'll see what every driver does. Everyone does it a little bit differently. So a lot of you international guys, you're going to say what's so special about the R34, but sadly here in America we weren't given these cars. They're still not legal for us to import technically. There's some here that have been here legally, so every time we see one on track, it's a joy, it's a pleasure. A lot of the cars just get put in showrooms or get left in private collections, but to see one pushed all the way how it should be, that's definitely something we love. That right there is the old Crawford Performance Subaru WRX STI. This car has not been out in quite some time. We're so glad to see this revive. We're hoping they can lay down some good lap times. I'm unsure if they're able to make a lot of changes. That car is an older build, but that doesn't mean it can't lay down some fast laps. Here we go. Here's Carla starting her hot lap. Let's see how she can lay down turn one. Oh, fireballs flying out of that beautiful car. This is another car, another driver that I've never driven here at Chase America, so I do expect them to not only increase in speed and time as the sessions go on, but get a little bit more comfort out there. The car should look more planted just because they feel more confident. See how well we can follow her around the track right now. It's crazy to think that while you're watching this on camera, you can't tell how much not only the elevation changes, but how much the road oscillates. Got a little uphill right here. It's going to be a left to a little up. Looks like we have Ryan Schmitz running a 225 in street class. This is one thing you're going to see a lot, I'm sure, as you notice in the Honda 2000, she's throwing flames. Well, the biggest thing is these cars are tuned to the limit, so a little D-cell flame throwing is not unheard of off throttle. Here she is going down the back straight. The fastest time we've seen this session so far is a 225. It's going to match the fastest time of the last session within a 10th. Got Ulrich Zerko with a 240, but it looks like he pulled into the pit to run that time. So we'll see if he had an issue or if he can pull back out. There he is. He ran a 240 coming into the pits, so I have no doubt his time would have been much, much faster. He crossed timing and scoring in the pits, and as I'm sure all of you know, when you're going in the pits, you're going a lot slower. They do have rules on that for safety. This is that triple apex right-hand turn. And there's Racing Ray Williams right there doing a 248 in the Bodybuilding Racing Honda Accord. Yeah, it looks like they're checking pressures. Looked like Ulrich just wasn't confident with that first lap, so he definitely wanted to come in, check some pressures, make it better. Oh, Brian Tyson with a 235 in a street Camaro. You can see the heat and flames coming out that side exit exhaust out of that Honda S2000. Behind Carlo right there, that's Brian Tyson in his JS2. He was supposed to come out here in his Focus ST, but he had some issues, so he brought his street car, and he's laying down some respectable times. He did a 235 on his first lap. Brian is one of those drivers that's going to be more and more confident. It does look like Johnny Hernandez out there trying to lay a fast lap. Johnny's another driver that towed all the way out here from California to make sure he can make this circuits in America. Kyle Powderfoot might be having some issues. I don't think he finished a lap. It looks like his lap was through the pit, so he crossed timing and scoring through the pit lane itself. So he may be having some problems, or he may just have to fix a few things before getting back out.
No shit. Corey, go back. Corey, go back to that. You got something like smoking.
That's like drifting over there.
Oh.
Okay, get out of it.
What is going on over there?
For example, this shot.
Got Ulrich Zerka back on a flyer. Kyle Powderford ready to go back out. Ray Williams with a 242. You can really see how much you have to work the wheel through the S's with Ray going through there. The front shot's not going to show it to you, but that top shot really shows you. You got to hit those marks perfect, or else you're going to be outside for the next corner. So it does look like the fastest time right now of this session is a 2:24.303 by Ryan Schmidt. That's going to be a Subaru WRX STI Street Class race. Don't know who's in the car right now. I believe this is Sally. I think she was going to run the first session in her VA WRX STI. Hard for these drivers that haven't been here before. That is Mike King and that BMW. But it's going to be very difficult for these drivers that haven't been here before. There are 20 corners in this
track. That's a lot to remember. There's a lot of break points, a lot of turns. So these hometown heroes, they definitely have a chance to go out there and make some waves. People whom we haven't seen, like that enthusiast orange Subaru, we would have never seen that car if we hadn't come here, because he wouldn't have had the opportunity to go to a time attack event. These enthusiast guys are not guys that necessarily have the ability to go across the states. But the beautiful thing is, once they get bit by the bug, a lot of them turn into these serious time attackers. Got Ulrich Zerka flying. There's one thing that's really crazy about this kid is he's still got a 1.6 liter in there, but he's making 400 plus horsepower in that monster. That is the epitome of a budget build right there, and he made sure he could do it. Every part on that car, minus I believe the race pack and the ECU, are basically parts he has scavenged off other vehicles, parts he's picked up used. He made sure he could take his budget as far as possible. He built his own aero, built his own splitter. The rear diffuser, side skirts, all built by him. The wing is a takeoff. The stands are a takeoff. This is the kind of car that I want all you guys to think about. You don't have to have a crazy car to come out here and compete. Anyone who follows Time Attack knows this car. This is Sydney, owned by Cole Powson and Kyle Schick. This is Life Motorsports. They've made a trek out to World Time Attack. He's beat Nob Taniguchi at the very first speed ring at Auto Club Speedway. He has proven himself out there to Time Attack. So it's going to be good to see what he can lay down here at Circuit City America. It's nice to see how these cars flow around the track. Johnny Hernandez, let's see what kind of times he's running. He's fastest lap is 2:33. Very respectable. 2:24 is still the fastest time of this session, but we have 2:33 out of Johnny Hernandez. Brian Tyson picked up another 2 seconds. Looks like we have James Hooton ready to go out. That was his K-tuned Living Motorsports Integra Type R. He towed all the way here from Canada, ready to go out and lay down some times. There's Alex Lee. There it is, another beautiful Honda S2000. I don't think you can do wrong with these cars. We've seen a lot of different styles, a lot of different aero loads, a lot of different rear wings, different liveries, different wheels, and there's just nothing I see that's wrong with that car. Mike Kang's done a 240 in that street class BMW so far. Very, very respectable time considering he's definitely not to the limit of street class. There's Cody Miles right there. Airlift Performance Subaru STI. He was making serious waves as a street class competitor. He did move up to limited class. He felt that he had laid as many records and done as much as possible in street class, and he didn't want to continue to be there. He wanted to move up with the big dogs, and that's definitely what Time Attack is. Staying in your lower class does not make sense once you're always winning and beating everybody. You got to move up, push yourself, push your machine. Johnny just did a 229, broke the 230 mark. That's laying it down with his street class Subaru. There it is. A lot of people are going to recognize this car. This car is very well known, probably one of the fastest Integras, not only North America, but the world. He has proven time and time again that you don't have to be a big name team to lay big name team times. Can't wait to see these guys out on track, see what kind of times they lay down. It's warming up a little bit outside, but it is still ice cold. So as the day goes on, as the sessions progress, do expect these times to drop.
looks like Ulrich only laid down one fast lap. It was a 240. Ooh. Looks like we have a serious issue with Ulrich's car. I'm not sure if he went off or if something just ripped off from the aero loads, but we do have some front end damage. Looks like the splitter's damaged. We got splitter damage. We got fender damage. Yeah, it looks like he may have actually gone into a barrier. We'll see if we can get more information on that, but there is definitely some damage. It looks like the front fender has been caved in a little bit. His fender flare has been broken off. Sally and Marco's team, they've shaved off a good amount of time. They were in the 250s on their first lap, 244 right now. This right here is time attack at its greatest. It's fixing and doing everything you can to make sure not only you can pull the car off or back on track, but he is using some towels. I'm not sure if there's some kind of fluid leakage. Maybe that's where his oil cooler is. It is very popular to have your coolers off to the side, get a little ducting going to them, but we'll see right now. Yeah. It's hard to see what's going on here. You can see that there's a little bit of crunchage. The fender is pushed in. I don't know what fluid he's pushing off, but he is cleaning it up, so that does have to be oil. This session is coming to an end. It looks like everyone is being checkered. So if you're on a flyer right now, that is going to count. But after that, you're going to have to go ahead and come in. The Old Crawford Performance car is being driven by Curtis Gladden and Christopher Banton. He's running 250 so far. Looks like we do have the wind picking up a little bit. These cars aren't as, say, aero-sensitive as Formula cars, but some wind pickup, a little draft will definitely hurt you or help you depending on what's going on. Let's say you're going down the back straight and you have a tailwind. It's going to help you pick up speed, but it's going to screw you through the braking zone. You're taking a long sweeping corner and you have a wind crossing your bow. That's also going to hurt you. So fastest time of this session is Ryan Shimsk. He did run a 2:24.303. That's going to be the fastest time we've seen so far. Last session had a 2:25.5 in it, so picking up about a second off the last session. Looks like Sally's coming to the end of her lap. She may be cooling down or trying to finish this one up. We have everyone in Group 1 about to go out for their first session. That's Group 1 for their first session. Hopefully we can get a little bit more information. Hopefully we can get a little bit more information on what happened to Ulrich. Ulrich is high experienced driver, so whatever it was, I'm sure it's just something that possibly couldn't have been avoided or something that just happened. While we're over here looking at Ulrich, I do want to remind you guys, this is Super Lap Battle USA at Circuits of the America. This is the inaugural event, first event in the history of Super Lap Battle. We hope to have this every year, long running. We're glad that we could put this on for you guys. We're glad that these teams wanted to come out and support. I will tell you, when this event was announced, it had the most buzz I have seen for a time attack event in North America. I saw international teams. I saw international magazines. I saw everybody talking about this, and the amount of support we've gotten in this, the amount of people that have showed up to watch, the amount of teams that signed up without even asking a question blew my mind. There are some big-name teams, some people that I'm sure you've heard of, like I've brought up in the past, Life Motorsports in Sydney. When they heard that this was going to go on, they reached out personally and said, hey, we're going to do what it takes to make it out. And that car has been sitting for a little bit. We have James Hooton right there in the K-Tune Levine Motorsports Integra Type R. They said, we will be there. We were sad to miss them at GTA Finals, but it's glad to see them come out here. Then we have some people that we haven't seen in some time. We got Mike McGinnis in his R35. We have Phil Grabo in his BRZ FRS with the twin turbo LS. That car fully turned up does make near 1,000 horsepower, so let's see what kind of times he lays down. We also have some cars that were fitted to come run with us. You'll notice Ferris over there in his Chevy Corvette Z06, that's Car Optics team. He runs Optima Ultimate Shootout, so the rules are a little different over there. You can't run real wings. These are cars that have to get driven from event to event. So when he signed up for us, he made sure that he retrofitted his car to run as competitive as possible in these classes, and I am very excited to see what kind of lap times he lays down. This about to come out, guys, this is Group 1, Session 1, so these are going to be the fastest time index drivers. All right, guys, here we have Group 1, Session 1 coming out. It was led by Jensen Little. Once again, I was talking about his MX-5 that could. Guys, this guy is a local. He works for CJ Wilson Racing. And when I read up the build on his car, this car blows my mind. Because when you look on it from the outside, it just looks like an MX-5, a car that has a little bit of aero on it, you know, nice splitter, nice wing. And then I read into it, and the quality of that build, the parts put in it, the skill of the driver and his team. He built that car on the side. He works for a professional race team, but he built that car himself. And I am very, very looking forward to the lap times he can lay down. Here we have a lot of the old school guys know that's J.C. Monet right there. He's been time attacking since the beginning here in North America. He took a few years off, but he's come back this year with a vengeance. He came back towards the end of last year with a vengeance, and he's been making sure to make pushes of effort with his car. A lot of people thought that the old man couldn't still have it, but listen, he's come back. He's proven himself. He's won events, 2 events actually since he's been back. He won his class in GTA Finals, and he won his class at a Grid Life track battles here there in Southern California at Streets of Willow. This car has been missed. I have missed seeing this car live. Hopefully James can lay down some fast times. That's one of those teams that puts in crazy amounts of effort in this car in their off time, and it's good to see those efforts come to fruition. This is that Corvette Z06 All-Star that runs Ultimate Street for a street car. Once again, and the rules are a little bit different. They're a lot stricter. You can have cool cars, but at the same time, you can't have big aero like that. You can't have big wings. You can't have this. You can't have that. So he's retrofit his car to make sure he can come here and be as competitive as possible. Jensen Little in his MX-5. I've been really hyping this car up. I'm not going to lie, guys. This car makes me excited because I'm not really the biggest fan of the NC Miata. It smiles at me too much, but he's a local guy. He's run time trials here. He holds, I don't know what the record is, but he has held a record here, so hopefully we can see why. Here we have Sydney, guys. Sydney is the name of Life Motorsports GTR. These guys have started their flyers. We have Jensen Little started his flyer. Here's James Hooton laying some sparks. These guys do put titanium skid plates on the bottom of their aero so it doesn't break. So you'll see the loads these cars are under braking or just under full load. I'm sure you'll see some sparks laid not only in a straight line but around the corner. If we could get James Hooton right there down the back straight in a little bit, I guarantee you'll see a lot of sparks. James looking really clean through the S's. He's nice and tidy. I'm sure he's not pushing himself to the limit. He has never driven here like most people, so he's going to try and lay down some nice, clean, fast laps and then push himself from there. Oh, there we go. We got James laying sparks in a straight line right there. Looks like we have Cody Miles getting out of the way. He probably didn't have a good warm-up, so he wanted to get another one before he started a hot lap, but he saw James coming at a high rate of speed. This is the backstraight we're talking about. The question I had for a lot of these teams, I spoke with Eric Levine, that's James' pit chief, and I asked him, I said, hey, do you guys have the gearing for this track? Because this backstraight, you could hit 160, 170, 180. They said, hey, if they hit limiter, they're raising the limiter. This is where his front arrow is really going to come in. He's got that beautiful right-hand turn. The big downfall to these cars is a lot of them are high aero load vehicles, so it's going to slow you down, say, the back straight or the front straight, but the amount of grip they have going through these corners. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are old school guys wondering why these front-wheel drive cars are out here competing, but the fastest time attack car in North America right now is a front-wheel drive car. It's a Honda Civic. 9th gen Honda Civic. The reason it is not here is because William Ao Young is actually in Japan right now. Oh my goodness, Jensen Little did a 2:27. That's 2 seconds off the fastest time of the weekend in that little Mazda Miata that could. And like I said, the conditions are not optimal right now. It's very cold outside. The track is still very slick. There it is, guys. Fastest time of the weekend. James Hooton, 2:18.194. I had no doubt that he was going to come out here and lay it down, but he laid it down to a level we weren't ready for. He's never driven this track. First time here. I'm sure he's watched videos. Some people have done some simulations on this track, but he just went out there and did a 2:18 on his first flyer, and it looked like he was taking it easy. I have no doubt he could push it harder through the S's, push it harder through that triple apex right-hander, and just a little here, a little there. Wouldn't be surprised to see him in the 2:15. Cody Miles did a 2:40. Ryan Pasi in that LFX swapped Camaro engine Mazda Miata did a 2:34. This is Ryan Pasi right here. He did a 2:34 in that beautiful Mazda Miata. This car has made it across the States also. This is Phil in his LS swapped turbo FRS or BRZ. Did a 240 right now. 239.086 to be exact. There's James. I'm sure he's on a cooldown. I don't usually see James do too many hot laps in a row right there. Yeah, he's doing it right now. Let's see here. I'm not sure. He might actually be on a flyer. He is pulling away hard from Cody Miles, unless he's just trying to get out of his way. That is a Porsche 911S right there, by the way, guys, driven by Tony D. That's E Not Racing, or Y Not Racing. These S's are gorgeous. I can't get enough. I cannot get enough. Here's Cole driving Sydney, the Life Motorsports GTR. You know, from the outside, it might look like a GTR. Anyone who's seen that car in person knows, though, that that car is mainly carbon fiber, crazy components. JC Monet. See what kind of times he's running. He's running a 233.919. Very respectable. I'm sure he's going to pick it up quite a bit. I've seen JC for years. He tends to ramp up the event as the day goes on. So coming into day 2, I know he'll be pushing himself to the limit. Tony D in that 911S, he's run a 239.619 so far. James Hooton still holding the fastest lap time of not only this session, but the event at a 218.194. Ryan Pasi just did a 229.676 on his second lap. Oh my God. All right, guys, let's talk about it. You know, I told you James Hooton did a 218. Remember how I was hyping up that little Mazda Miata? He just did a 219.989. Look at the difference between these vehicles. James's car is crazy. This is all self-done, though. James is not huge budget team. He's done this aero. He's had help from other shops and other teams, but he is not a high budget team. But Jensen Little built that car on his own with help of his team. The mildest looking Mazda Miata I have ever seen. Just a beautiful wing and a nice simple front splitter. And he is only 1.7 seconds off the fastest time of the event right now. JC's got a little catching up to do. He did a 230 on his second lap. He's cut a good amount of time off so far. Ferros in that C6 Z06 at a 223 right now. He's going to be the third fastest of this group. So we got James Hooton at a 218. Oh my God, guys. Jensen Little did a 218.334. He is less than 2/10 off of James Hooton. This Miata is here to blow people's minds. Just reading his posts, seeing what he does, he seems to be a very humble guy. He wants you guys to know that he talks on the track. He's not out here talking on the internet. He wants to go out there and run the fastest time he can. And on that third lap, he did a 218.334. With that said, James Hooton has only done one lap. He did a 218.194, and then on his cooldown, he did a 255, just trying to bring her back into the pits. James' car is probably closer to the high-strung side. It'd be very difficult for James to do 2 laps in a row. He has to come in. He has to get his stuff checked. Once again, this is a beautiful car, guys. The thing about this car is it's all carbon fiber body. The amount of work put into that car blow your mind. But it still has the silhouette of an R35. You're not going to mistake it for anything. You're not going to say, oh, what is this or what is that? They've done a great job of keeping that car being the same. Here's Jensen Little right here. Can he lay a faster time down on his fifth lap? Or his fourth lap, I apologize. He did a 218.334 last lap. If he can just shave 2/10 or a 1/10.5 off this lap, he will be the fastest of this group and of the day so far. He is flying. How often do you see a Mazda Miata look like it's flying like that? When they're following them, they're tracking those red and white stripes, they move by quickly. His transition is fast. The amount of power this car puts down at a very quick amount of time is incredible. Reading this build, it does look like he's still on stock displacement, obviously with boost, but it is still a stock displacement engine, so he hasn't gone stroker, he hasn't overboard it. He has a very balanced linear car. I think the biggest thing about this car is he just didn't overdo it. He built it exactly how he wanted to. He didn't throw too much power at it. He didn't throw too much crazy at it, and it just seems to work. JC with a 229, he was shaving second after second every lap. It does look like Jensen keeping it, guys. We're not going to see a fourth lap, but what we did see is Ryan Pasi out there laying down some laps. That right there, guys. You're watching at home. You're watching on our live stream. Does that look insane to you? Does that look like a car that would be 1.5 tenths off of James Hooten's time? Because it doesn't to me. And that's probably one of the most impressive parts of this. His driving ability, his build, just how beautiful and perfectly built that car is. That right there is the epitome of, not necessarily time attack, but the epitome of work with what you have, perfect what you have. And they've done a damn good job of it. JC's probably run 4 laps now. He's on lap number 4. So JC is one of those people that definitely makes sure his car can run lap after lap. He doesn't have an issue going out over and over again. Tony D in the 911S, he's running 235.5 so far. Very impressive for what that car is. Here it is, guys. Here it is, Merle Zimmerman, the first Evo on track. This is what I'm talking about. We don't see very many Evos anymore, guys. If we were talking 2008, 2009, 2010, Evos dominated the circuit, and then Subarus took over. Vape life became a thing, and just we haven't seen as many Evos since, but it's great to see him out there in that Evolution 8. He's going to lay down some good laps. That is a very well-sorted car. I know they put a lot of work into it before the event, but hopefully they have it sorted out enough to where they can lay down some impressive times. What JC lays down. 2:27.923. That is his fastest time. He shaved almost a second every lap. I think he shaved 2 or 3 after the first to second lap. The second, third, and fourth lap shaved about a second to second half each. Car looks pretty well planted. It's crazy to think that these guys have never run this track. They don't know the elevation changes, but they're still able to set their suspension up to a way that's compliant enough to get them around these corners. Big misconception around here is you just want the stiffest suspension possible. And you know what? With high aero load, stiff suspension is required because you don't want the car dragging on the ground. But you still need the compliance to get around the corners. Over stiff, it won't turn. Under stiff, it'll just roll. There's a lot of work and time that goes into these vehicles and just the history they have. Ryan's done a 2:27.206. Ryan is actually ahead of JC Monet right now by 7 tenths. He's doing a great job. That is a swap that if you're on the internet, you've seen before. Don't get me wrong. The LFX Camaro swap, that's a V6 Camaro, guys. The LFX swap, it's not unheard of. It's just not something you don't see commonly at the track. I've seen quite a few of them online, but to see someone make the swap work so well like Ryan has the entire 2 seasons I've seen him run, it's probably one of the most impressive things I've seen out of just a privateer, someone working out of their garage. It's also kind of weird hearing this car go down the front straight. You think you're going to hear a little 1.6 or 1.8 liter, and the next thing you know, you hear the rumble of a V6. It's not necessarily a V8, but it does have its own independent tone, and you would never pick up the kind of engine it is. See if Merle Zimmerman's laid down any fast laps. He's on his first true flyer. He did one warm-up lap, came back into the pits, another one came back into the pits, so this is going to be his third lap. Hopefully we can see a fast one. Another crazy thing about Mr. Pasi is his car always looks so planted. Every event I see him at, every track I see him at, his car just never looks out of shape. You do see him push it sometimes. You do see the ass come out, but it just never looks out of shape. JC was not able to better his time. It looks like he's reached the limit of those tires. He did a 227 the previous lap, just did a 228 now, so... Looks like JC's still pushing it, though. He may just want to get as much experience out of this session as he can because he knows coming into later today he may have a fresh set of tires he wants to put on, so he needs to know as much as he does. Saw a little puff of smoke right there out of Ryan Pasi's rear tire, but nothing too bad. Looks like he's pushing his braking zones a little by little. He has done a 226 now, though. I mean, he's picking up time every session. He was about 2/10 off of JC Monet. Now he's a full second and 3/4 ahead of JC Monet, so... Ryan's one of those people that every lap of every session, he's going to pick up more time, and that's great. You see this crew over here. It looks like they're working on the Accord in the back, and then they're working on the S2000 in the front. S2000 may just be cooling down. I wonder what's going on with that Accord. Hopefully we can get a little bit more info out of them on that. That's Carla right there. She drives the Honda S2000. As you can tell, it's chilly out there. Every single person's wearing a jacket.
Just
in the
for
50s, so that's not what you would call optimum track time, not optimum lap time temperature. It's going to be great for the engines. The guys with boosts are going to love it, but the tires are never going to go up to optimum temperature. So figure these crazy times you're seeing, James Hooten with the 218.1, Jensen Little with the 219, or I believe Jensen Little did a 218 also. 218.334. We got two guys within 2/10 of each other, and everyone expected James Hooten to come out here and lay down a flyer. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I was hyping it up. I wanted it to happen, but I never expected to see Jensen Little just come out and lay down a 218 with him. Oh, looks like we got a little debris on track, guys. You see Ryan Pasi have to do a little evasive maneuver right there. I'm not sure which car that came off of, but that could have been bad. It may not look like a big piece, but when you're flying down that back straight at full speed and you have some aero in the front, that's something that can rip off that end plate, no problem. Looks like Cody Miles has laid down some good laps. He did one lap in the 240 range. He just did a 229. JC's down to a 227, 163. He 3 1,000ths ahead of Ryan Pasi. He heard me talking, so he had to lay it down. Ooh, Ryan Pasi did a 226, 141. My goodness. This is where you see the big difference. You got Ryan Pasi in a semi-low horsepower, lightweight vehicle. I'm sure that LFX Camaro's in the 300 horsepower range. Then you got JC Monet, a car that he has developed year after year. The car is between 500 plus horsepower, high aero load, but it's a heavy Subaru. So it's all about balancing the sport. And you have Merle Zimmerman actually laid down a 235. He was able to get a full hot lap and he laid down a 235. So it's a very impressive time for first time out. Hopefully they can get some data, make some adjustments, and see what they can lay down after that. Looks like we do have the end of session one right here. That debris you saw Ryan Pasi almost lay out on right there is going to go get picked up by the high quality crew we have here at Circuits of the America. Probably one of the best parts about running here is not only the fact that the facility is top notch, but the safety team and everyone that works on here is top notch. So they'll go make sure it's safe. They'll go pick that up. They'll double check everything else, and then we'll be back out there for Group 4 Session 2. Group 4 Session 2 starts at 10:50 a.m. Texas time. So if you wanted to make sure you didn't miss that. Coming out next will be the Radicals. We may leave that. We'll leave that feed up. We will not be commentating on it, but the Radicals will be out there. We'll actually be back up at 10:50 Texas time, guys. That's 10:50 Texas time. We're just going to make sure we update the feed, and we'll be back with you guys. So let's recap this, guys, real quick. Let's recap this. These guys are all ending their hot laps, but we have James Hooton with a 2:18.1. Went out there, did one lap, and laid a flyer. Then out of nowhere, Jensen Little on his third lap did a 2:18.334. So what I expect to see is I expect James to come out with some data, lay down a faster one, but I expect Jensen to get faster with it also. It is not optimal temperatures right here, guys. It is freezing out there. The track is cold. These tires are not getting up to temperature. These brakes are not getting up to temperature. So as it warms up a little bit, as the sun peeks its way out, I expect to see those times drop. If James did a 2:18 on his first flyer, seeing him in the 2:15s would blow my mind. Jensen, I don't know what his fastest time is here, but if he could pull a 2:18 out like that out of nowhere, I'm guessing he has no problem going down with James. We'll be back with Group 4 Session 2 at 10:50 Texas time, so we'll catch you then.